Okay.
Put me on Cataclysm difficulty right off the bat.
Okay, we are at round 2. We have legally got him very stoned in Colorado here. So
it's the right state for it.
Up the difficulty level, as my sensei, Bill Gates, would say. And I was about to call him Bill Gates. I was going to call him Dylan, but most people don't know his name is Dylan. But yeah, so let's get this going. Okay, so you're in the middle of drums you had thought about. I mean, whatever's good, basically.
Yeah, we were still playing around with that drum track we had. You had taken a detour.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. You drive. We're trying to make sure that he drives so he gets the muscle memory down. So you can okay. Yeah, so you can...
So first of all, I want this to go away.
You can exit out. You can also hit Control W, but only if you have the Live Enhancement Suite, which will get you right away.
Okay.
It's like this shell of shortcut extensions and stuff on top of Ableton.
What were we working with back on tab? We were here, and we had soloed this out. I don't want to solo this. I want to hear it. How do I shrink this?
So equals is what we did for the key binding to get everything to be nice and compact, but in general you can zoom in and out by clicking on the ruler at the top and dragging up and down.
Why is this faded? Why can't I see this?
Yeah, man. So you've only got so much vertical real estate. Driving, it's round 2. Okay, so let's talk about screen real estate. See how this MIDI track, it's taking up so much. Yeah, so you can drag that down. Now also, see these, the ones that are labeled A, B, and
Master?
Yeah, those are separate from all the ones that are top.
Okay.
Right, A and B, those are referred to return tracks, so you can get rid of those if you hit Control Alt R.
Okay.
That will
Control Alt R.
That will disappear your return tracks and give you a little bit more vertical real estate. You could also shrink your master chain down, or your master track. Yeah, we can
shrink it like this. Cool.
Yeah, we can move this so it's a little easier to see. But yeah, so you kind of have to manage your pixels. I like to have the visualization stuff at the top so you can see the sound.
Okay.
There's a lot to learn from there, but we could hypothetically not have that. And use all of the real estate, but we have a very big monitor here, so
how do I... There we go. Okay.
Yeah, so that was the drums.
Yes, applied through the piano, I believe.
Yeah, so see how it's all grayed out? Remember the arrangement, the back to arrangement?
How?
Yeah, so there's a little orange button right there. Good job.
Okay, cool.
There's that yellow button that you turn the drums back on if you want.
Yellow button?
Well, it's gray right now. You got to make it yellow. So see all these yellow things here? 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 is that's the on-off.
But this wasn't a drum last time. It was a piano.
That is a drum.
It is a drum? Okay.
That's the drum track.
Yeah, okay. So really, I'd be a little bit better. But no, I think this first chunk is pretty solid. I suppose there is right around there is probably when I'd add vocals. And then after that, I would probably change the structure of this.
We have a microphone running right now if you want to record some vocals.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
You could record some oohs and ahs as some test vocals if you wanted to, just to figure out how to record audio into Ableton.
Yeah.
Or you could do your guitar if you have a guitar right now.
Vocals. Money where my mouth is.
Money where your mouth is. Okay. So I like to record on the other side, but you can record right into here.
Okay.
So either one's good, but you gotta choose.
You want me to... This is the other side.
Yeah, this is the session view. The other side is the arrangement view. Arranging is what happens over time. Session view, you can like... It's kind of more dynamic. You can like play around and experiment more on it.
So which one's like the larger venue? Is it, I'm assuming it's kind of like Cervantes' Masterpiece and the other side.
No, I mean...
I couldn't help it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, so audio tracks can record audio. Your voice is not MIDI.
Yeah.
It's definitely audio, right? So you need to record audio. So you need an audio track. I made a bunch of them earlier, but otherwise you need to create a new one. So you can pick any audio track, but you need to make sure that it's receiving your voice.
Okay.
Got it? So go back to the session side, if you would.
This session side.
Yeah, see these audio tracks? There right now, they're blank.
Okay.
See this? It says audio from. All right. You want to do from an external in. Oh, snap. Ableton crashes sometimes, y'all. Okay, hit okay.
Oh, God. Oh, no. What happened?
Don't even worry about it.
Does this mean I don't get to sing it anymore?
No, Ableton also recovers very well, but it totally crashes.
That's paranoia-inducing. You know, I don't get any crashes with Android Studio. Maybe Ableton ought to invite on developers from IntelliJ IDEA.
You know, you gotta talk to them about that. There's definitely Ableton is known to crash. So, but it does recover nicely. So close out this crash report shit. So we're back basically where we started. We can save this. So we're gonna save this just projects. Cool, just to have it. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. Audio from external in. Didn't crash this time. Wow. Okay.
Whoa.
So now we are dealing with a mono recording.
Okay.
The vocals don't need to be stereo. You can make them stereo after the fact if you want.
We don't have two microphones. What would be the point?
We do, and we could if we wanted to, but don't even worry about it. So, right now we're doing a stereo recording. We can make that a mono recording by just listening to one. All right, this is a very directional microphone. You got to get close to it. And but if you do that,
cool.
Try it. Like wah or something. So you have to hit the record button down at the bottom to record. Otherwise, it's not going to listen to everything all the time.
Yeah.
If you do want it to listen all the time...
It's listening right now.
It is, because you hit this record button. But if you do want it to listen all the time, you would tell it to monitor in, and then it will always listen.
Okay.
Get that.
So now I can just record vocals. How do I play the track at the same time? I want to sing along to the track. Do I need headphones?
Yeah, you don't need headphones because this is such a directional mic, and also because this isn't a serious vocal take.
Okay.
But in general, yeah, you wouldn't want your speakers adding extra shit.
This isn't a serious vocal take?
Well, no. It's not a final take,
Okay.
Vocals are a whole nother discussion.
All right. I want to play the track at the same time that I'm singing, though. How do I do that?
Yeah, so the same way you would play the track before.
But it's playing from the top of the loop, so to fix that, I have to go back over yonder and then take it to, like, here?
For sure. And you can record in on this side.
Is this where it's looping? Why is it... How do
Where you go. You gotta make sure it's set to loop, but yeah.
This?
Yeah, you're not set to loop. Yeah, there you go.
Aha.
Oh, because Omnisphere crashed. It's just paying a saw wave. So plugins don't always do the crash recovery very good.
Okay.
So you got to go back into Omnisphere and find a new sound for that because it fucked up. Right.
Oh no.
At the bottom, there's also two things here. So there's the one that has all the MIDI notes. And then if you hit Shift tab, you'll get all the devices.
Shift tab?
Yeah.
Shift tab is... Oh, these things.
Yeah,
I
so
remember this.
there are two things. Yeah, so there's all the MIDI notes and all the note data, and if it's audio, it'd be like the waveform.
Why doesn't this have... Oh, there it is. Okay. Just takes a moment. I see.
Yeah, so Shift tab changes the bottom, tab changes the top.
Okay.
Now we go into Omnisphere by hitting that wrench. Wrenches is how you get into VSTs.
Oh gosh.
What's happening? Just once. Yeah, so you click on, for Omnisphere, you just click on this main page. Not diagnostics, yeah. And then you would pick a sound. So I think this is your piano, so I can help you find the piano that we had, or you can pick any sound you want.
Where's the piano?
So if you go to keyboards...
Oh, I did show you that track, that Jimmy and the intermission track that precedes it. If there's anything that kind of sounds like that, that's what I'm going for. So it'd be like a piano, like a mockingly sounding childlike piano.
I made a harpsichord piano preset that sounds pretty fucking amazing.
Bam, show me. Hit me.
Okay, so it's called Setzer's Harpsichord.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Setzer is a character in his fantasy novel that is yet to be named. I think it's called Alex's Unnamed Fantasy Novel.
That's funny. Okay, so instead of this instance of Omnisphere, we're going to replace it with this shit. So this is a rack, and it's an instrument rack. Now, racks do several things. They can also, in addition to just being a group of things, they can split the signal too, and then it combines at the end. Right, so this one, you can kind of ignore this first one. I just did it so I could save it better. But there's this layer, and then there's this layer. And in fact, inside this layer, there's actually like 3 layers, right? But and then there's this reverb in it as well, right? So I have effects on here, right, as well as different instruments.
So this may seem like a silly question, but does the ordering on this bottom row, like, what does that change?
It flows from left to right.
Okay, so like a signal chain on a guitar.
Oh, can you click that right there?
What, this?
Yeah. Oh, and click that in, please. No, that in, yeah.
Whoa.
This is, because I've got all this shit here. Yeah, so basically what's going on is the only way to get MIDI to this thing...
Stop it.
That's brutal.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Would you like me to stop for you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd like you to tell me how to stop it, actually. Oh, there it is.
You can turn that off.
Oh, every dog in the neighborhood is so grateful to you right now.
And about Steam Pipe, but we can just turn off this layer entirely.
Okay.
And we'll just delete this layer entirely. So fuck all that. None of that's necessary for this.
Cool.
This is all working fine. The other thing, right now MIDI's only coming from this track, so I can't play it in on the piano. So if you say all ins, it's going to listen to anything that's being sent to it, including external hardware.
What about that one? Is that one going to it?
It's not even on. Yeah, it could.
Okay.
For sure.
And I could have both of them going at the same time.
Yeah, so now when this is
that's
on...
odd.
Right, so now when you play this, you'll get... So you can turn off that. And you can balance these things.
That's perfect.
As well.
Yeah.
Right, so you've got this harpsichord, which might be too loud. Right.
I like that.
Cool. So we can also, if you did want some kind of reverb that wasn't this one that's so big, you could make this smaller. And you can also have it be quieter.
I don't know if I want the reverb on this. I think that, like, when it sounds authentic, when it sounds like it's coming from an instrument in this case, it'll make the dynamic change between that and the heavy, growly, throaty track that follows it. Like the severity of that switch should be at the front of the song, like at the foremost of the song. In the same way that intermission at a Jimmy is like, that's a very sharp contrast between a diesel amplifier and I'm going to say a child's harpsichord. It's like, I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
The reverb makes it sound like it's in a theater.
One of the things that makes music good is contrast. And so having one thing and figuring out something that's wildly different. So to have something that's very dry in your face and then move into this big, heavier thing in maybe a bigger space that's all like,
Yeah.
So that contrast, is a nice effect often. And then it's just about executing well on it, which is just kind of a subjective thing.
There was another song, just to throw it out there, another song that I've been listening to a lot lately, Moving in Stereo, and it's been on repeat for me, and it's from the Cars.
Okay.
And as he's singing, he changes like positions on the, I think, like panning.
Yeah.
He's doing panning effects. And simple panning effects, I think, can be used to tell a really cool story. And I would love to use dynamics in the same way to tell.
In fact, better than panning, you can actually do things that position stuff in the stereo spectrum, how things work in like real world. Like, so for instance, Oculus, who makes the Oculus Rift like VR software and like hardware and stuff, they have a VST called Spatializer that's free that helps you position objects in space and you can move them, and so it sounds like it's moving through a real space. Whereas panning, you're not really going to get that.
Okay.
Because there's other things that go into it, including volume changes and filter cutoff changes. Like different frequencies carry through the air better. Like high frequencies don't travel as far as low frequencies, but low frequencies also require more force to carry. Like they have to be loud low frequencies, which require quite a bit of force in the first place. But they carry for longer, right? They're also less directional, whereas high frequency waves are much more directional, right? And so if you have something in the way between you, like high frequency waves will get cut out more than low frequency waves, and so there's a lot of stuff that goes into contributing to how something sounds in space besides just panning. But the Oculus Spatializer makes doing it quite easy. And so if you want something to be moving, that's a really good way to get the whole track, your entire song, to sound like it's in a real space as opposed to a synthetic space, is to have something that's moving around like it's in a real space. Binaural recordings are also really good. They take microphones that are at the distance of ears and record that way to get this sense of how you would hear it if you were in a real place, and then
that's pretty cool.
The panning and motion, it ends up being very realistic.
That was a question they never satisfactorily answered in my college sound engineering courses. How to control the distance up, down, and around the ears. So if I wanted to make something sound like it's coming from behind you, I really never feel like I had that option in my classes because panning was the only thing and I could control left and right.
Yeah.
But not behind or in front or above or below, which I think make for better storytelling, like the ability to describe something with a sound that comes from underneath of you.
Yeah, so we're actually really bad at telling sounds that are above us.
Really?
We're good at telling sounds below because of the reflections off the ground. And so if something's like, say, 20 feet from you, it's going to reflect off the entire 20 feet of the ground at you at different times.
Okay.
Right, because they're going to, like, if you think about like the length of like a right triangle kind of as it bounces, they're all different lengths.
So tell me something.
So there's this smearing of the sound.
Like physically in the room, you are a little bit above me, but let's say you're on like a ladder and you're really far above me. You're saying that, well, not really far. We'll say that you were a couple steps up on the ladder, so that we could also say that you could be an equal distance below me on the ground. In that instance, are you saying that I'd have a harder time hearing you from above me on the ladder than if you were, say, like on your knees or like on your stomach or something?
Not that you would have a hard time telling that it was actually above you.
Okay. I think we've seen that in action. So that was like when we were at Burning Man.
There's an easy way to do it here. Put your thing in the middle here so they can see. Close your eyes.
Closed.
So now, I want you to point at where I am snapping.
Okay. can't wait to see the video footage that follows this.
Yeah, see, that one's way off.
Yeah?
You're pointing where I am.
Where are you? In that...
I'm here. Look, you're pointing here, and I'm literally perpendicular to where you're pointing.
I see.
Because it's right above your head.
Was it that way with whenever you were snapping around my neck?
It's an evolutionary thing.
Okay.
Right. It's not, I don't think it's true, like every animal.
That kind of makes sense, because most of our predators would be coming from the ground.
Yeah.
We're worried about snakes. We're worried about stepping on a spider or a scorpion. We're not worried about a bird flying at us.
Yeah, so like I said, from the ground, you've got this smearing of the reflections from the ground that inform you where that thing was positioned and how low, right? Because if it's closer to the ground versus further from the ground, the smearing of those reflections are very different.
Okay.
Right? But once something gets far up, where it's basically you're getting direct signal from it, it's hard to tell whether that just came straight at you or whether it came diagonally down at you.
Okay.
Right, just because our ears aren't really designed for it.
Yes, he did just hit me in the head. No, don't tell anyone. Oh, that's more like a loving caress. Actually, that's just you flicking me in the forehead.
Cool. So we've got this harpsichord thing.
Yes, I was driving.
Yeah, you're driving.
Get your hands off the wheel. All right, so
we had to replace the sound. Sometimes, if Ableton crashes, VSTs get fucked.
Okay.
And then you're soloed.
I see. So what does it sound like? And now we need to switch this.
That was some electric guitar thing. Right, so
the drum track carried.
Yeah, so we can get that old electric guitar. I remember how to get to it if you go into the track.
No.
Alright, so you need this track, right?
So I need to select this first.
But no, this is the note data.
And then shift tab.
Yeah, so Omnisphere's right there.
And then Omnisphere.
The wrench to get into it, yeah.
And then guitars.
Yeah, so I took you to the type, and then I took you to actually none of those. You got to go off guitars. Sorry. You got to go up here and go back to all at the top, and then go to type.
Okay.
See, now go to distorted D. Distorted guitar-esque.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I found this, and then we went to the Knopper.
Burning Evil. What? Show me. I need to know what Burning Evil is.
So you're soloing the wrong track. So
oh no. Okay.
you can just click solo on the right.
That one.
Yeah, that's
so
what
this is the one we need.
So now if you hit space twice, you'll probably end up with. Yeah. So that
awesome.
Compare it to the Knopper. Compare it to that. Hit space again. So if you like the Burning Evil more,
I do a little bit. Let me experiment a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah. Now you can combine them. Alright, you make this decision. I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
No.
I'll be back, Mike.
No. All by myself. Don't wanna be angry and raw distortion. What? Burning Evil? Give me Burning Evil. I wonder if this is like a Rage Against the Machine thing. No. Moog Tribute Library not found.
Oh, that's because I didn't buy it. I have that because I used to have a hack version of it. Now I own all of them except for Moog.
No. Alright, back to Burning Evil. Yes, I can live with this.
Good.
It's a little less. It's a little too treble heavy. Can I make it like a little bassier?
If you drag that token down.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll.
How do I? Why is it? There it is. Also, I want to change this MIDI file real quick.
Yeah, so, yeah, and you'll notice there's actually 4 different clips. They're not looping, they're duplicated. If they were looping, it would change all of them.
Okay.
But because they're 4 separate individual clips.
Oh, but can I just duplicate them? So this was the Control D thing.
That's the one you've changed. Now you can just duplicate that one. Yeah.
What am I doing? Control D?
Yeah. Yeah, Control D.
Give me 1 second. Let me fix this real quick.
Yeah, so if you...
back here.
Yeah, hit space and space. Maybe space.
Control Z.
Space.
There we go.
Space. Space.
And also,
space in.
I'm going to loop this a little tighter.
Yeah, sure.
Bam. Okay.
Bam.
That keeps closing early when I extend this. There we go. Give me... Why does it keep shutting off early? It keeps like fading? What's going on there?
Because the sample, that's how long the sample is.
Oh.
Well, it might be different because depending on the way that this... Right. Depending on the way that this preset works, it's possible that it's just the way that it's programmed, but my guess is it's because the sample's only that short.
Okay, so let me try a different sample and see if that's the same thing, right? That'd be easy to test.
There are ways to do it once you render it to audio to extend its length.
Okay, yeah, I like that a little bit more. Like when this holds. How do I stop? Go, no. Just leave me alone. Okay, first of all, stop that. How do I... Okay. I don't know how to communicate what I'm trying to do. How do I duplicate? How do I duplicate?
Control D for duplicate.
Okay.
You select what you want to duplicate, which in case is this thing right here, right?
Okay. And it's still a little long. Because it's duplicating from here. That's right. Okay. Dang. I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
There are faster ways to do what you're doing and more efficient ways, but you're definitely getting.
Okay. All right.
You'll learn ways to control MIDI note size with your keyboard.
I'm going to be the sexiest producer known to man.
Yes.
And women. And they. Sure.
So this won't know the notes you're trying to play. So these previews are.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Okay. Make a recommendation?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you
Drive.
take this, you make a copy that's 1 octave up, and then you control the velocity of this. You can. Hold on. We got to make sure that this. Yeah. So see how that's all. Basically what you had before, and then. Well, this should be higher pitched. If it's possible, it's not playing both at once. But basically, the point is to draw an upper. Let me see if we can get one. Yeah, it's only just playing one. Some instruments will only play one at a time, and normally, we can fix that by turning it off legato, which solo, not that one. I just am forgetting how to do that specifically in Omnisphere right now. Because there's voices, which is one thing, but then these instruments are probably set to legato, which range might be in the synth or something, and I don't really want to do this.
You went through like 4 different things that I'm a little confused about.
Don't worry. Basically, this instrument only lets you play one note at a time.
Okay.
Some instruments are like that. Now you can undo that. You can change
That's
that
like
behavior.
most instruments, though. Like a saxophone can only play one note at a time.
But a saxophone in Omnisphere can play as many notes at the time as you want, as long as you don't have it set to legato mode. Right?
That's pretty hot. I would like to hear a symphony of saxophones.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy, I'm just trying to remember where it is in this specific synth.
Not right now, though.
But not right now, but this is keyboard tracking, sample synthers. Yeah, because there's this voices, which is how many different things you could have at once, hypothetically, but then there's also some legato mode as well, apparently.
You need to find me 2 other saxophonists so that we can do a saxophone quartet where you've got like a baritone and a tenor and an alto and a soprano saxophone all in the same band. That'd be hot.
Yeah.
It gets so focused.
Might be this, which seems like a weird one for it to be. Yeah, it's totally that one. Normally it's not called solo, but you can hear how... Right, we can kind of blend it in. Right. So now it's playing both notes at once. Yeah, it's totally this. Right, so this is just having... Right, so this is how it would sound normally. And then this is with another one an octave up.
Interesting.
A, B.
So I like both of them, and like...
And you can use both.
Because they're... Yeah, one's got more dynamic intensity.
Also, like I said, dial in the velocity. So I'm holding Alt and going up and down to change the velocity of this. So I'm selecting these, holding Alt, and changing the velocity. But you can dial in like the balance between the low one and the high one. And if you wanted, you could make a whole stack. Right. And like, depending on like how full... But it's going to take up more and more space in your mix as you do this. So depending on what you're going for at any time.
You kind of want to, yeah. When I have other higher ranged instruments, I don't necessarily want the other octave.
Yeah. So what you might do is 0 will disable notes. Hit 0. Get back to driving. See how these are, right? So what I would do is I would leave them all in and maybe eventually get them balanced how you want. Right, but then you can turn the ones on and off that you want in different sections.
What happens if I hit loop here?
It will loop wherever this loop brace is. In this case, it starts at 1.1.1.
And I can play it from here? I can just do this. And then I can do 0 and just activate these.
No, yeah, let me... So
Why can't I... Whoa!
Control Z.
Make it back. Take it,
So
give me it back.
grab the right edge of this and drag it right.
Right edge.
No, that was good. You were over... Yeah, the right edge of the first one. The first one, that's the second one. Yeah, drag it right.
Okay.
Keep going, all the way right. Yeah, bam, done. Stop. See these little tick marks halfway or each way through? That's this now single clip looping.
Okay.
So now this, instead of 4 discrete clips, you have 1 clip.
Interesting.
All right, you have 1 clip. And that one clip is looped 4 times. So now changes you make once will propagate through all 4 of them.
How do I make these come back?
You hit 0 on them again, but you deleted some, so you'd have to... Yeah, so you can select what you don't want and hit 0 on them to disable them.
Right now, it just did that with these ones, right?
Yeah, so grab the right end of that. We undid a bunch of stuff, so we undid the drag right you did.
Okay, so if I wanted to swap places with this, can I just put it there?
Sure.
And then move this one back?
Sure.
And then do Control D?
Yeah, what I'm recommending is making I mean, you can do whatever you want, but if you keep the notes in the clip and you disable them, right, then you have the data and it's less destructive, and then you can change things quicker later.
Okay. So don't do Control D is what you're saying?
Well, no, Control D is good. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can arrange it however you want. What I'm saying is that having disabled notes is useful as opposed to having no notes.
Cool. I can kind of... It makes me want to start this one a little bit earlier, though. Shoot. So if I drag this over yonder, and then do Control D again... I don't understand. You were trying to tell me not to do that.
No, not... Well, I'm saying you have options.
Okay.
And that different ones are better than other ones in different circumstances. Right. So... This, for instance, it would be harder. It's easier to turn this one into that than that one into that. And if you're making like different ones that maybe aren't stacked for 4 octaves and just are stacked the highest octave and the lowest octave, you can make different versions quickly from this one.
You said something before about quantizing. Is that also what happens when we move this over onto the note it's supposed to be on?
Yeah, this is a little bit tricky because you actually, if you zoom in here,
using Shift,
there's a couple ways to do it, but grab the ruler, yeah, that'll do. So you'll notice that when you copied this one over, it's not actually lined up.
Oh.
Yeah, so this one, if you drag this one out and make it the full length, no, but you're dragging the right one. If you drag the left one out and make it the full length, go back, yeah, then duplicate.
Control D. D.
Yeah, now you'll be good. You want to see a trick?
Yeah. But I also want to do that. Okay, cool. Yes.
So, oftentimes drums become instantly better if you have a little pickup before you get in here. So if you take this loop and you drag it back a few things.
Is it auto-populating?
Listen. Right. Okay. So you have like a little pickup rhythm. Now you might change that. Now this is looped, so you'd have to... when it's a loop, see how this is all one clip? Mm-hmm. And it's looping and looping. If you change something here, it's going to change it there too. So you would slice this and you could make like your own little fill from here and be like, well, I like this, but I don't really like it. Right, and also this one needs to start just a hair. Right, you're like, this, remember yeah, so, and then it starts there. So you could like change these things, like add like another thing here. Right, so you could like change the fill, but it's really nice for drums to have like a little hint that something cool is coming, so that when they anticipate it, it impacts harder.
I see.
Yeah, and so
want to hear it from the top?
Yeah, you always gotta hear it from the top for sure. The other thing is this loop's kinda...
a little more corn than it is Tool, but I still like it. What is it? What did you hear with your elf ears?
Oh, just the I'm just noticing the rhythm and how it's laid out. If you wouldn't mind clicking on that right there, yeah, perfect. Yeah, click that.
That?
Down, the kick, yeah. So the kick doesn't seem to be there, but the kick wasn't sounding on the one. There we go. Now play from there, because the kick wasn't sounding on the one, so it
just to double check. If I wanted to play from there, I would click where?
Oh, it's tricky, but see below the ruler, there's this little area where it turns into a speaker. That's where... Yeah.
Okay, I did.
Now the kicks are actually hitting on the one. And I would also cut out the kick on the fill, just because then the first kick happens on one. That's just personal preference. And then I'd also color the fill a different color because it's different.
Okay. How do I color the fill?
Yeah, so you click on the clip.
Okay, this one?
Right click on it.
Yeah.
And then you can choose from those colors.
Pink.
And I'd also get
That's not pink.
Note.
What the frick? That's totally... Okay, that wasn't pink in the first place.
No, pinks.
That one is pinkish.
Pinks are over here.
That's what I meant. This is the pink that I meant.
That's more of a red. But
it is.
Yeah, so I would get rid of this one just because it kind of gives the kick away early.
This?
Which in my opinion is undesirable.
Why,
so you can hit 0
okay.
to disable just that
note.
And
then I can go back over here to where this is.
And then the first kick is like right there.
I see. That kick is not beefy enough.
Oh, that kick's there too. I get rid of that one too. Yeah.
0?
Yeah, 0.
Girl.
Do you say it's not beefy enough?
I don't really dick with it right now. It's
super
right
fast.
fine.
Super fast.
Okay. Beefy.
Yeah, so you need to go into your drum rack. So shift tab to get from the notes to the device. Your kick's right there. Click on the kick. So you're going to notice that's going to change this once you click on that. So that was your snare. Now this is your kick.
All right.
To make it beefy, one, you could just make it louder.
Like volume.
That would be one way. But you also, a better way is if you click that filter, and then you put it from clean mode onto any of the others. There's this drive knob, and then crank that drive knob up to about like 12 or so. Yeah, so that's gonna give you
I can't count.
So you don't even. Yeah, so you want to do that by ear. So pull that back until you like it. And you can also make it quieter there and more distorted there. Right, so you can drive it harder. Up, yeah. And if you do fade out, increase that. Yeah, see how that is just gonna shape that tail end so it doesn't sound so awkward when it stops.
Okay.
Unless you want it to, and then I'd recommend dragging that one and telling it.
Does it sound like a max? Is that the cat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, up and down is how you control that, not left and right.
Yeah, up and down on that. That's the fade out.
I see. Yeah, I like that more.
Cool.
Cool.
Yep.
The manner of the late, great Quentin Tarantino. He's not dead. Okay, we can pause this. I think I could probably sing into a microphone.
Yeah, okay, so I recommend
All right.
on this side.
Saving stuff?
See that?
Okay.
Now, you can barely hear it, but it actually is coming out the speaker. Right, so if you were to yell in there...
I can also just tap it.
Yeah, so you can totally hear it. So, it's recording.
I didn't hear it.
Talk a little bit about vocal processing, but right now it's listening and listening. Auto, it's only going to listen if you have the red button on. In, it's always going to listen. But you're not going to...
So we're recording right now?
No, you're not going to record till you hit the record button.
Oh, I have to hit it in 2 places.
This says listen, and now it's going to get fed into Ableton. So it's actually going out the master.
Okay.
Now we could tell it, don't go out the master. This says just go to the sends, which are these knobs, and if they're off, it doesn't go anywhere.
Can I record something very briefly that we can throw away immediately afterwards? Just to test it?
Yes.
Just to hear what my voice sounds like through a microphone?
Yeah, so right now we aren't going through the master. It would avoid feedback, but we'd hit this, and then it's going to start now.
Oh, without the tracks.
Yeah.
I'll just give
the other way to record is this
can I solo
record
it?
button
Wait,
up here.
I can solo the recording too, right?
Yes. And you can make it, but then you won't be able to hear the beat and stay in tempo.
Yes.
We could turn this on if you want to.
I just, very simple. I want to record something that has nothing to do with the song.
Sure.
Hit me.
Okay. So we're just going to record whatever.
Yes.
Go.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Cool. Okay, so this is what this looks like. If we're on in, it's not going to play. It's only going to listen.
Okay.
So now that... Oh, hold on, we got to go back where this will play.
Oh, no.
The master. It's only going to the sends, which is nothing right now.
Okay. Good morning, Vietnam! God, I sound amazing.
Yeah, so we could do stuff to this if we wanted, like, put it in, like, a giant space.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Right. You know, obviously.
That sounds like an alien space track thing.
Yeah.
I can hear it now.
Yeah, because now we are sending audio to the master, which is, we hear the master.
I see.
Now, this is a very directional mic, so we don't have to worry about feedback.
Okay.
Really. But if we had a more omnidirectional
like
mic,
a dynamic
feedback, like a condenser.
Like my Shure 58.
No, that's also very directional.
Or 57. The 57's not directional.
Oh, yes.
That's cardioid. You're kidding me.
This is a 57.
Okay.
And it's super directional.
No shit.
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
So I have a home studio recording.
The cardioid is directional. It just depends on the
all I gotta do is switch these.
angle.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you just saved me like $300 right there.
Yeah, no, dude. SM57s, you got to get close to them, and then they have a very strong off-axis rejection, is what it's called.
What is that?
Off-axis rejection. Off of this axis, it rejects the sound.
Okay.
Now, it's not good for picking up room sound, and it's good to record with two things. One that's a wider diaphragm that's going to pick up more of the room sound and put that at a distance, or sometimes even behind you is nice, right? And then you can sing into this or do whatever into the directional microphone to get the dry signal and then fill it in and then blend the room signal to taste.
Okay.
So you have both, because you can put synthetic rooms and you can other stuff, but it's not going to sound like it sounds in the room that you're recording in. It's going to sound more like you're singing into someone's ear or something directly.
Okay.
As opposed to sounding like you're singing in the same room as them.
All right.
Got it?
I think I understand.
Yeah. So.
But I also really want to go back because now I got like an idea of what I want to sing.
Cool.
I'm ready. But I don't want to sing over top of the drum track.
No drum track?
Just that first two bars and the...
Okay, well...
Not the piano bars.
Well, I'm just going to mute the drum track. Then.
Perfect. Was that at the top? I missed something there.
Yeah, you...
Perfect. That's just those two for now.
Cool.
Thank you for being patient with me.
What the fuck? Automation. Why? What is control? There's a small chance that this keyboard is controlling sync. Fuck that shit. There we go. Our automation stopped working on the tempo, and it really shouldn't. And it really makes no sense why it is. That's good. It seems to be working fine. Okay. Good?
Yeah.
Right.
Run away.
start this over and just turn this down just so that it's a cleaner recording?
Yeah.
And yeah, then it'll be basically quiet.
Run away, why can't you run away? To start.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, no, that's really good. It's good
Got
to
a metal vibe
it's good
to it.
to sing out too. So we could like record on a different one, right? Like there's a million things that we could do. The point is, no, you're always gonna think it sounds bad at first.
No, that sounds a lot better than other things that I've recorded.
Cool. Well, there's things to do to make it sound better.
Okay.
So the most basic is just a compressor, and compressors are tricky tools.
I've used one on a guitar before that usually makes like dynamics more tight.
Yeah, so it's partly because like of the way the microphones work, you know, and stuff. It's just like, you know, it's like air softens the sound some, and so like if you sing into a microphone, it's always going to need and then this might have some like latency on the recording a little bit, depending. It seems like it's pretty good. And like again, like I was saying, because you're singing like it's like you're singing right in someone's ear, a little bit of reverb helps.
I can see that.
Now, the most natural sounding reverb is what's called convolution reverb. And what convolution reverb is it's a model of real spaces using math. So they make us like a starter pistol sound, or like a impulse is what it's called, but like white noise impulse in a space, and then they record how it sounds at all the different frequencies over time, and then they apply the same math, like the same decay tail, the same reflection math to whatever sound you feed to it.
Okay.
So if we go here and we go to oh yeah, this guys. This guy's like the browser's a little bit weird in the way it renders. But these are real spaces. A lot of them are real spaces. Some of them, you can make a impulse response out of anything, right? It doesn't have to be. But like, so this is like some concrete tunnel thing. Literally in some concrete tunnel, right?
Cool.
This is a church.
Oh, that's gonna be really big.
Depending on the church.
Yeah, it's still pretty big.
Yeah. So this is a grain silo.
Oh, that's awesome.
The biggest place I have is this. It's got the longest reverb tail in the world, and it is the inch down. This is how sound responds in there. Now you can also control the frequency.
Wow. Oh, it's still rolling. Ricola.
Right, so you can control the frequencies in this, but you can also scale down the decay. So it's only a 1/10 as long. Now it has like a 60-second reverb tail, so it'd still be pretty long, I'd imagine. This might not be an ideal thing to use, but you know, you can do like everything from speaker models to spring reverb, specific places like speakers and telephones. Like car radio close, like a telephone, a 1990 model of telephone. Right. So we could increase the gain on this.
I like the idea of using that, like, in the middle of a song. Like if the speaker has been singing as though they're pretty close to your ear without a lot of reverb, and then like in the middle of the song, like during the bridge, they have that effect, and you could sing about something like them being in a cage or being somehow like confined in that. Now that I think about it, it seems like a thing that they would, like, Tool probably did intentionally in Sober or Present Sex or songs that have those kinds of themes. But we could probably do that and make this song into something more Dark Tower inspired, like the Gunslinger inspired. Would be a cool song to sing about Jake or Roland Deschain. That'd be neat. I want to sing a song about them. Work on those lyrics. From your destiny.
Interesting. This does have kind of a tail to it. Oh, there we go. That's way better. Alright, so what they do is they put this little white noise pulse into this phone. They record what they get out of it. Right. Maybe even through a microphone.
Okay.
And that's literally how they
like
make these things.
Decompose it.
Yeah, convolution means multiplication over time, like continuous multiplication over time.
Okay.
So they do it on a sampleized multiplication over time, but they're basically saying what is the amplitude of the output wave versus the as a fraction of the amplitude of the input wave at each frequency over time. And then you just do the same multiplication on the whatever input.
So that'd be like
signal.
A n squared logarithmic equation. Excuse me. Yeah, n squared. Not n to the second, but the square root of n. I think that would be a better way to describe what you're talking about.
No, it's literally
as
like a polynomial multiplication. Like it's like multiplying a value between 0 and 1 44.1 thousand times a second.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that's precisely what it is.
Okay.
Right. It's 32-bit math, so whatever the 32-bit representation.
Why can't it be a 64-bit?
Because Ableton runs in 32-bit.
It doesn't. You can't set it up to run in 64-bit? Like most machines I know are.
No, we're talking about the audio resolution, not the processor architecture.
Gotcha. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
No.
When you say that it was like a mathematical equation,
I'm talking about when it's sending audio from track to track, it's in 32-bit audio.
Bit, so to speak, or byte.
64-bit audio would be silly. 32-bit audio is already silly and unnecessary. 16 is as good as we can hear.
Okay.
24 is useful if you're going to...
So like 16 is what you hear on CDs?
CDs are 16. 24 is sufficient for samples because 24 you can add 48 decibels of gain before you've reduced the quality down to 16-bit.
Okay. So
you could have something very quiet and make it really loud and not add any noticeable distortion.
Without any distortion. Okay.
Now
that's cool.
The noise floor will also get raised up. But if the noise floor is quiet, you can also digitally remove the noise floor and remove the noise.
So whenever I turn the volume up on my guitar and send it through an out, like the signal that it gets that's sent to the amplifier, if I do that, it'll crunch it. It'll make it sound crunchier and more distorted. That's different. So you're saying that, like, in that case, it's probably a lot smaller than 48 decibels that I can crank up on that gain knob.
That's a whole different creature.
Okay.
Right, you're getting distorted because you're running into an analog ceiling.
I see.
Like, these waves are literally bouncing up into some ceiling and flattening out, as opposed to waving, they're like starting to squish and flatten out and square out.
Okay.
So your waves are becoming squared out at the top as they're bouncing across. Like whether it's a tube amplifier, then they're literally bouncing on the walls of the tube and getting. If it's like a circuitry one, then like the signals are getting squared out as they can't, like by the capacitors or resistors or whatever, like that they can't go through at that amplitude or something like that.
Okay.
But the amplitude gets pushed down above that threshold until the thing explodes, but whatever. But then it's still getting squared out, basically. And so it's adding harmonics as a result, which is a whole nother conversation. But this is different. This is, you're taking a digital representation where you've got from 0 to 1 a lot of little steps that you could be at, and then you're expanding what this 0 to 1 is. Basically you're stretching everything up, so something that was like only got 10% of the way up, you can now make 100% of the way up.
Okay.
But you're going to have 1/10 as many steps as you used to.
Okay.
Right.
1/10 as many steps.
Yeah, like these little, between 0 and 1, you've got 24 bits worth of steps.
Okay.
When you stretch that out to 10 times as tall, now you'll have 1/10 as many steps over the 0 to 1.
Okay.
Right, you'll still have 24 bits of steps, but they'll be less dense.
I think I understand.
So more spread out. It's like blowing up a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's like if you've got a gajillion pixels.
So can you apply the same anti-aliasing that you would use on
So aliasing is a little bit different
to an audio file?
But sorry, what?
But you could apply that to an audio file.
Yeah. Well, so
you could anti-alias an audio file if it's quote unquote pixelating.
So yeah, so aliasing in audio terminology has to do with sample rates.
Okay.
Maybe it has to do with I'm pretty sure it has to do exclusively with sample rate type aliasing, which is if you stretch out horizontally, right? You've got 44.1 thousand samples per second horizontally. So in 1 second of music, you have 44.1 thousand steps, and those steps can be 24 bits of resolution from 0 to 1.
Okay.
Or 32 bits, which is a fuck ton. Now, mathematically, every 6 decibels of gain that you add reduces the quality, like the density of those steps, basically by 1 bit. 6 decibels of gain is twice as loud, so you're twice as loud, so you have half of as much density, so you're 1 bit less.
So doesn't that mean when you're listening to music at high volumes, you should be getting less quality? Or like there's more, I guess, quote unquote, pixelation at high volumes? You're saying that's only at high gains.
Yeah, no, so there's a difference between the digital realm and the analog realm. When you're listening to music at high volumes, what you're talking about is you're taking this quiet signal and you have amplified it through the volume knob, let's say, but through some sort of amplifier, and you've converted it from the digital into the analog through converters, digital to analog. Okay. So no, there's no distortion in that sense in the conversion between 0 and 1. The music goes from 0 to 1, silence to full volume.
Okay.
Right. And then, yes, you will get analog style distortion from trying to drive up your signal.
And that would
loud.
be like your speaker is sounding like it's blowing out.
And there's a lot of reasons why that might happen.
Okay.
One, because you're running into some type of like circuitry load, and like the resistors or whatever are pushing down the signal when it gets too loud.
Okay.
It'll sound like all like weird plah, because like it'll stop, I don't know, oscillating right. Or there's also physical distortion that will happen in the speaker cones as the speaker cones are shaking too much, right? Because they're no longer reliably elastic at those ranges, right? And like you can also like burn out the voice coil if it's not designed to take that charge, right? Those sorts of things. But if none of that's happening, but that's all on the analog side. On the digital side, every 6 decibels of gain is 1 bit of quality loss, and 16 is CD quality. Right? So if you're at 24, you can add like 48 decibels, right? Like 6 times 8, right? Because you get 8 decibels from 24 down to 16. Right, so you can add like 48 decibels of gain before you're going to add any digital
kind of distortion. I see.
Digital distortion, meaning that now that you have fewer steps, when they interpret, oh, we would have been like halfway in between a step, but now we'll go to the top step or the bottom step. The steps are so close together that it really doesn't fucking matter.
Okay.
Until you get below like 16.
Okay.
right? Because there's just so many steps. Like, you know, if you move this one, well, this one was here and this one was here, and if this one's now here, it doesn't matter, right? It's the same wave, like you're waving down, right?
So I can do.
So I turn down the volume here.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
so right now we're speaker
reverb.
mode. Yeah, so I put you in speaker mode just for the sake of it. I was suggesting if you want a real space to use this guy, hit that up arrow and it will go up a level. Hit up again. And this is my IR folder, so Ableton has a bunch of good ones too.
What is an IR folder?
In impulse response, these are like the echoes, basically, the different types of echoes. So depending on what you want, if you go to, there should actually be one up there. Yeah, something about the 4K fucks up this plugin. I really like it, but the sample browsing is kind of fucked on 4K. Yeah, but anyways, go up. But if you go to Ableton, they've got a bunch of good ones. Right, so Real Places. Yeah, so you'd have to. Run away, why can't you run away? Yeah, you can hear how quiet that is. Right. Run away, why can't you run away? Something that has a character to it. Why can't you run away? Run away. Why can't you run away?
I'll take it. That's good enough.
Run. Sure. Cool. And so turn it off really quick. Why can't you run? I'll turn it back on. So it's good to gain match these first off, so turn that down, the output, until it's the same volume as when this is off. So turn it off. Why can't you run? Turn it back on. Yeah, so maybe you just put, yeah, that's about good. Anyway, so then you get an honest comparison as opposed to one that you prefer because it's louder.
I see.
Right, and now the other thing is if this whole thing isn't loud, you can add a utility, which would be under your audio effects. Right, all these things, utilities is just to change volume and some other things, but you should get that closer to where you want it. Right, so no reverb. Cool. Yeah, it sounds a little bit more like you're in a sort of a smallish room. But
yeah.
It does sound more natural. But, another trick is, say you want everything to exist in this space, or at least a little bit, right? Like a unified space. You could put this reverb, instead of on this audio track, you could put it over here. And then you can use these knobs to send a copy of the audio over there.
How do I do that?
Yeah, so grab this guy.
I see.
And throw it over on that reverb send. And you could do it on anyone. Yeah, delete that old reverb. No, that's save. That's swap out. That's turn off. You can also select it by clicking on the bar and then just delete it. Yeah. So now what you're doing is you're sending a copy of the audio over there.
Where is over there?
Right here.
I see this. Okay, I see.
Yeah. So yeah. So now if you crank that up. Yeah. Now watch. See that? Crank it up even more. Yeah, crank it. So you can see it now you can take your bass sound, this guy, crank that A up. that A. Yeah, so now you're sending it to... Oh, you pan this already. If you double click on things that will return to them. Alright, so now you've put your bass in this space too. So kind of unify
Cool. Bleh.
Yeah, now the vocals are probably a little loud, so
yeah.
you might also want to rename them vocals and color them a color that makes... No, not there. That's how much reverb there is, and that will make it louder, but you would drag down that arrow is the level. Yeah.
What does A stand for again?
It's just the name. It's the index of the send. Send A, send B, send C, send D. These guys over here, A, B, C, D.
Oh, gotcha. And why is there not a master then? Because
everything
ends
goes
up in
to
master
because it's not a send. This is sending a copy there.
Ricola.
Yeah, so you would rename the track. You'd also the clip's named.
I mean, these vocals kind of suck.
Stop. Okay, so I already named the clip. You need to name the track vocals because this track contains vocals. And then that clip is the runaway clip. If you have another one that said different stuff, that would be a different thing, but it'd still be vocals on that track. Yeah, so then you'd color it a color that makes sense for vocals for you.
What's a good color for vocals?
And then you'd want to...
Black.
Yeah, if you right-click on it, you can do assign track color to clips, and then those will turn black as well.
But not all of these are vocals. Like that was not vocals.
They were all vocals. That's the Good Morning Vietnam there.
Oh.
That was like your first take or something?
Yeah.
I fucked up.
The goofy one.
Yeah.
I see. Alright.
So you can close this out if you're happy with that reverb. You can always change it.
Stop.
Cool. So you still haven't balanced this how you want it, right? So first you gotta have the runaway play. Right, get that as loud as you feel it should be. Yeah, because you gotta... The other thing we're thinking about when you're setting these levels is what is the center of attention? And everything else should be supporting that because it's hard to pay attention to two things at once. And, like, generally the listener is not going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And they can pay attention to other things, but, like, you know, vocals are almost always going to take center stage while they're going, right? So everything else while the vocals are going should be there to support the vocals.
Okay.
When the vocals aren't going, you might want to put like the bass in there, and maybe then you make sure the bass is extra resonant and has more detail.
Mm-hmm.
Then you like cut out some of the highs and make it more muted and stuff while the vocals are going. Right, that would be a good mixing thing, right? It's nice to sort of handhold the listener to what they should listen to. It's okay to have sections, like little places where it's more muddy and it's just like this wash, and then you can bring people back. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And like, and they'll do that in classical music where like too many different things are playing at once. There's like 100 musicians in a symphony orchestra.
Or like that in the song "A Day in Your Life" by the Beatles.
No, I can't remember.
Day in the Life.
Those. I mean, I'm sure I've heard it.
It's the one where the very end is just like every instrument playing at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. And that's
an
like
A, I think, or like an A. Like
yeah, you can do that. Like builds are a nice time to do that. Sometimes, like if you can put people adrift in a space and leave them there for a while, and then you have a vocal come in, and all of a sudden it gives them this center, and all that driftiness becomes like a frame.
Okay.
Right. So, just things to think about in terms of mixing to support your composition and composing to make mixing easy and effective.
Okay.
Just thinking about how things work together way in advance. Right.
Is that sounds like a good place to take a quick break too?
Yeah, sure. I'm totally down.
Up for another one?
Round 2 done.